Hello and welcome. I'm Amanda Saratori, and this is Lead Like You Mean It. Each day, I'll share a passage from my book along with practical tools and micro acts of courage you can carry into your own life and leadership. Think of this as our daily pause, a moment to settle, to listen, and to return to yourself. When I first began to notice the ache, I didn't have language for it. I only knew that something inside me felt misaligned, no matter how well I performed on the outside. Looking back, I can see that what the ache was really doing was pointing me toward a different way of navigating leadership, not through performance, but through integration. It orients you with 4 quadrants: presence, power, purpose, and alignment. Each comes with a simple move: the presence reset, power rooting, the purpose filter, and the alignment check, designed to bring you back when the ache flares. A compass doesn't give you every step of the journey. It orients you. It reminds you which direction is true when the landscape around you feels disorienting. And for leaders, especially women, and especially those who have been asked to shrink parts of themselves to belong, it offers a new way to find wholeness in spaces that were never designed for our full selves. Most leadership models were born inside the very systems that created the ache. They are designed to optimize productivity, polish presentation, and perform resilience. They teach us how to endure more, how to balance harder, how to keep showing up even when the mask is suffocating. The integration compass is not another performance framework. It's an unperformance framework. Where other models teach you how to be better at surviving fractured systems, this compass teaches you how to stop fracturing yourself in the first place. It doesn't reward endurance. It restores wholeness. It's not about adding more tools to your already heavy load. It's about learning to set down the armor. And unlike generic calls for authenticity or resilience, the integration compass is built specifically to disrupt the cycle of conditional belonging that so many leaders, especially women, people of color, LGBTQ+ leaders, and other marginalized identities, know all too well. The compass has 4 quadrants. Each comes with a signature practice, a simple, repeatable move you can make to return to wholeness. Presence, the reset. Presence is about actually being in the room you're in, not rehearsing ahead or rehashing behind, but breathing in this moment as yourself. It sounds simple. In reality, presence is often the first thing we abandon when the stakes rise. I've lost count of the times I've been physically in a room while my mind raced 2 steps ahead, rehearsing the perfect response, editing my tone before the words even left my mouth, gauging how my body language might be read. On the outside, I looked engaged. On the inside, I was somewhere else entirely. That's what performance does. It pulls you out of the moment and into a role. You nod, you smile, you deliver your lines, but you're not really there. Signature practice, the presence reset. Before responding in a meeting, pause for 1 breath. Ask yourself, am I speaking from clarity or from fear of being misperceived? It seems too small to matter, but here's why it works. 1 intentional breath gives your nervous system just enough space to shift from survival mode to presence. Neuroscience tells us that a slow, deliberate inhale followed by a longer exhale signals safety to the brain. When your body knows it's safe, your clarity can finally emerge. I've used this in countless moments. Before answering a pointed question in a board meeting, before disagreeing with someone I admired, before deciding whether to say yes to another responsibility. That 1 breath didn't solve everything, but it kept me from abandoning myself. Story: when presence changed the room. I once sat through a high-stakes strategy session where everyone was rushing, voices layered on top of each other, urgency pressing like a weight in the air. My reflex was to match the speed, to prove I could keep up. Instead, I paused, 1 full breath. When I finally spoke, I slowed my cadence, grounded my voice. The room shifted, not because I had the perfect words, but because presence has a frequency. People feel it. The irony is that what most of us are taught to perform, charisma, polish, quick wit, pales next to the power of true presence. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. You don't have to be the most polished. You only have to be fully here. Metaphors of presence. Presence is the exhale you didn't know you were holding. presence is planting both feet on the ground after pacing in circles. Presence is like adjusting a radio dial until the static clears and the music comes through. Application. Presence in real life. Presence isn't theoretical. It shows up in the smallest choices. You pause before hitting send and ask if the email reflects clarity or anxiety. You take a breath before answering a question, letting your truth catch up to your tongue. You stop bracing for impact and allow yourself to be rooted, even if the room feels hot. One leader I worked with began opening her meetings with a 30-second silent pause. At first, her team fidgeted, confused. Within weeks, that pause became a cherished ritual. People began arriving more fully, less distracted, more honest, more human. Presence became contagious. Why we resist presence? Presence feels risky because it slows things down. And slowing down can feel like weakness in a culture that worships speed. We're rewarded for quick answers, for instant emails, for being on at all times. But speed fueled by fear is not leadership, it's survival. Presence interrupts the reflex to perform. It asks you to stop outsourcing your worth to how fast or polished you sound. It reminds you, your authority doesn't come from volume or velocity, it comes from clarity. If the ache had a voice, it would often whisper, "You're here, but you're not here." Presence is how you answer that whisper. Not with perfection, but with a simple return. One breath, one pause, one conscious choice to bring yourself back. The presence reset won't erase the pressures of leadership, but it will dismantle the reflex to leave yourself behind, and that in itself is revolutionary. Power here doesn't mean dominance. It means being rooted in your authority so deeply that you don't need to prove it. Most of us weren't taught this kind of power. We were taught performance, power, the kind you earn by being polished, agreeable, efficient, or endlessly available. We learned that if we played by the rules, stayed calm, kept our voices measured, and carried more than our share, we might be rewarded with access. But access isn't the same as authority, and performance isn't the same as power. When you feel the urge to overprove, press your feet into the ground and silently repeat, "I am already grounded." This simple act isn't symbolic, it's physiological. Pressing your feet down engages the largest muscles in your body, signaling stability to your nervous system. It reminds you, in real time, that you're not floating or flailing. You're rooted. You belong here. A colleague once told me, "You always sound like you have the answer." At first, I took it as a compliment. Later, I realized it was a mask. I was performing certainty because I was terrified of being seen as unprepared. I'd memorize scripts, rehearse possible questions, prepare talking points for scenarios that never happened, all in the name of sounding authoritative. The truth? That performance left me brittle. One unexpected question could shatter the whole act. Real power came the day I said, "I don't know, but I'll find out." It landed more strongly than any polished performance ever had. The room leaned in, not because I was flawless, but because I was human. Thank you for spending this time by the fire with me today. If this spoke to you, please like and subscribe so you'll know when the next reading is ready. And if you'd like to receive the companion micro act of courage, I've dropped a link in the comments where you can subscribe on my site. Until then, take good care, and I hope to meet you back here tomorrow. Have a great day and be kind to yourself and each other.